Nice to see you. And this is Johnny Renfrew, our lead educator.
Hi, Johnny. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Good. I'm just getting.
What a lovely holiday tree in the background.
Thank you very much.
It looks so festive.
I'm really attempting to stay normal during this time.
I heard you're in Palm Springs, and I'll be there on Sunday.
Oh, really? It's beautiful. You're here. You can.
Oh, yes. Okay. Beautiful.
It's unobstructed mountain views. I like to.
Very excited.
I know. We're out in La Quinta, actually. Do you know
Yeah. Okay. We did like an Airbnb, and it's near downtown Palm Springs, but it looks like a lovely home. Hopefully it lives up to the photos.
Oh, yeah. It's even better in person.
I can't wait.
Wait, where's Johnny? That looks amazing.
Isn't that?
So I'm in our head office in downtown LA today with you guys. So we have some good weather here. Yeah. I actually live closer to Palm Springs. I live on the way to Palm Springs in Riverside County. And I usually used to get to visit my territory out there for my other companies. And it's beautiful out there. Our clients are amazing out there.
Yeah, but a lot of closing. You know, Jay Russell's closed now. They're closing up. But there's so many salons that are going down. They would consider the best ones here. So they can't open. They can't keep on paying the rent.
It's so hard. You still have your bungalow, right, Philip?
I do. Fortunately, I have to tell you, my saving grace through this pandemic is making efficacious formulas. That's what I doubled in size.
Oh,
amazing.
Okay, well, we're going to get into this. So,
yeah, I got a lot to show you here. I've got demos galore.
Oh, we're very excited. Well, we're really thrilled to have you today. Just to give you a quick Cliff's Notes background, we know each other for many years, but I've been leading editorial for Beautytap. I also do strategic partnerships. I work with Jill and Lex, and wonderful on your team. Jill and I go way back, and even Melissa. You have such a fabulous team.
I know.
And yeah, you're lucky.
It didn't by accident. I made that happen.
Yes, of course. And so I lead editorial, and Johnny leads education, and we're starting these Beautytap chats with luminaries such as yourself in conversation. And we sent you some topics that we wanted to cover, being that you have really been the pioneer of botanical-based, plant-based hair care. I mean, going back 30 years now, obviously there's no one we would have wanted to talk to more about this and proper scalp care than yourself. And we'd also love to get a little bit too into just some of your business acumen. Even hearing you just share that your business has gone up. I mean, it's fascinating. I'm curious.
Let's start in the beginning, because I know one of the beginning is the overview of my background.
Yeah.
I started off like everyone else, a curious hairdresser, someone who I've always been into hair, mostly because my mom took me to salons when I was really, really in that most impressionable stage. I was like between 0 and 3. I was constantly going with her for that wash and set, which took an hour plus. When I'd watch them tease, and they'd have me sort rollers and have me sweep floor, and then eventually I was shampooing hair by 13. It was fun for me. And it was adult. It was a step into an adult role, and I was great at it. I have giant hands. I love to massage. They say my touch is great. I believe I've always worked on keeping my energy as light and healthy as possible. Dealing with people, you go into people's auras. You know, we all have auras and energy, and everyone's is different. And when you're a hairdresser and you touch 10 different people's auras a day, like where the cutting is, you know, that's you're in there. It affects you. So it's like you do the whole shake off thing for the energy. And does it work? Who knows? But it makes you feel better. And if it makes you feel better, who stole that line from me? Taylor Swift. Okay. Anyway, true that. I've been saying this for 30 years. You got to shake that energy off. I tell all my hairdressers all around the world. I said, it's really important. 1, keep your energy light, keep it happy. I'm happy. When you're happy, your day goes by. But when you start off in hair, people come to you and they sometimes don't want to talk about their problems, but then when you're combing out their hair, you see fingernail marks and dried blood, scabs, and you go, what happened? And they tell you, I was up all night, my scalp's itching and I can't stop it. Can you recommend anything? I've been to doctors, I've spoken to every hairdresser, and I've tried it. And then they go, and I've tried Tegrin, I've tried Head and Shoulders, boom, boom, boom. You get the whole punch list. It's a mega information dump. You just opened a floodgate just by saying what happened. And that trust bond allowed them, because I've had some women, they won't even let my assistant look at their scalp. It's so bad. And great hair comes from greater scalp. And when you have psoriasis and dandruff and that type of inflammation between the layers, it affects the follicle health. So finding that out from my clients, having wonderful clients like Dr. Ava Shamban, who came to me. And I said to Ava, I've had so many clients who have skin disorders. And along the way, I discovered by accident that if you take oil treatment and you put it onto a dry, flaky scalp or patches of psoriasis, you just take the oil, and it's so simple. You just do this onto a patch of psoriasis. And if you work it in, massage it, and you flood it heavily with the oil, and you massage it like this with 2 fingers gently, and if you take a blow dryer and you just wave it lightly, don't burn the head, just want to warm it, those patches will dismantle and slide off the scalp in 20 minutes. And you know what happens? The itching stops. You know how I know? Because people who tend to have bad psoriasis, they have very dry hair. It's a byproduct of the problem. So I gave an oil treatment to someone who had psoriasis patches all over his scalp. And while I was doing the heat and the massage on the scalp, I was watching these giant flakes just slide and slither away. And I saw, he looked up in the mirror and he said to me, my itching just stopped. And I said, what does that mean? And he said, I itch all night, I itch all day. He said, my itching just stopped. You made my itching stop. And I said, that's awesome. And he goes, no, that's amazing. And then emotions start and you're like, whoa, this is not cut and color anymore, kids. So what got me going was several different things. Another thing that piqued my curiosity is when I was an assistant is, why does the hair tangle? Why does the hair tangle? Johnny, do you know?
I have goddaughters and their hair is always tangled. It could be from the water. For us, we deal with a lot of the hard water that's really just adds calcium to the hair to just not maintaining it, especially for some of us. For others, it's just the fineness of the hair. Different for everybody.
Different school of thought, but I appreciate it. Let me show you something. Science. Here's hot water from my tap. I'm really excited to show you this. This is litmus paper. Okay. Here is a litmus chart. Here. You see on my arrow, here skin is 5.5. You can go into any Nordstrom and walk up to a counter and say to any makeup artist, what's the pH of my skin? She'll say 5.5. But when I sit with rooms of hairdressers, 30, 40, and I say, what's the pH of the hair? One person might say 5.5. Now, see how it's yellow? Hold on, I gotta get it right. See how it's yellow at 5.5? Now at 6, it goes lime green. And then at 7, sorry, I'm trying to do this backwards here. At 7, it goes darker and darker, and 7, 8, 9, right? So Johnny, you're kind of right. And actually, I want to show you. So you take this litmus paper, that's its color, and just dip it in the water. And then before your eyes, you will see the color jump up and the pH will shoot up. And as the pH shoots up, the cuticle opens. As the pH drops, the cuticle closes. It's like opening and closing a door. So when the pH goes up, the door opens. And when all the shingles of the hair open simultaneously, it works like Velcro on each other and they catch. Now you can see how dark it's going. Oh God, I put in my water by accident. There, let me see. This pH spray is made with apple cider vinegar. I've made it for over 30 years. She said to me, Philip, when I was a little girl, my grandmother used to use apple cider vinegar on my hair and it was so shiny. And I said, Mrs. Klaus says, I'm going to make that for you because I know it's going to acidify the mantle of the hair and close the cuticle. Watch, Johnny. Watch, Alicia. Boom, boom. Oh, pH just dropped tremendously. Now, if you spray this on soaking wet hair after you shut the water off and you mist it lightly on and you just work it through, the pH drops right back down to 5.5. Closing the cuticle, detangling the hair instantly. Take a comb, boom, boom, no problems. So I've had women with bleached hair down to here who I was shampooing forever and ever, and it was tangled. I was crying, combing them out as a young guy. And I showed them this. And I did this on their hair soaking wet, just lightly, squeezed it through. And then I took a comb and with no tension, I went like this, and they freak out. They turn around and go, how did you do that? I can't do that. I'm home, I'm battling with my hair. So that was great. That was the beginning of this pH thing with me, understanding how to control the cuticle layer, the shingles of the hair, the outermost sheath of the hair shaft. Also, by closing the cuticle, you protect the cortex where your color pigments are stored. And by doing that, you get less color fade. So all products are pH at 5.5. Knowing that, it's great. When you get in, you put the conditioner on, your hair turns to silk every time. But then you rinse it, rinse it, rinse it, take a towel, gently pat it because you don't want to tangle it. And you come out and it's tangled. And I was like, it's the simple process of doing this all around, not on, not in, over. Phase 2, tightens the pores, gives your skin that little bit of lift, drops the pH. The tap water is made for drinking. And one of my clients, her father developed this osmosis process. They live in Newport Beach, and they're very wealthy. And he invented this, he patented the process of purifying water, and he works with the cities. And they have this, she says to me when I do her hair, my father and I laugh all the time because water comes out of the tap alkaline and everyone's buying it. Yeah. So I know from being friends with my girlfriend, Carol Alt. Carol's a raw foodist. Carol and I have been friends for 30 years. And about 20 years ago, we were on the beach together. She had her niece, I had my nephew, and she said to me, you're too heavy, you're too handsome to be this heavy. It was very heavy. And she said, I want you to eat with me this summer. So I did all raw. And by the end of summer, I lost 30 pounds. I went down 10 waist sizes. I alkalined my body and I never felt better. And I learned alkaline in, acid out. Hair is a dead byproduct of the body. It's acidic, it's mild to acidic. Skin, top layer is also mild to acidic, dead. Underneath is alive. So I wanted to be the solutions person because people come to you as a hairdresser, you have a responsibility to give them a responsible answer. I had one lady who came to me when I was working with Dr. Ava Shamban, just to give you an idea. And a woman came in and she had psoriasis. She said, I don't know what's wrong with you. My scalp started, it's freaking out. And I looked and I said, you have psoriasis. She said, I said, does it run in your family? She said, no. And she said, I don't think I have psoriasis. I said, why? She said, well, the hairdresser in Marina Del Rey said I live in the flight path of LAX and I'm probably getting the pollution of the airplane. I said, no. I said, that's definitely not what it is. But luckily, I said, yeah, we're at Skin and Scalp at St. John's Medical Center. I went over to Ava's office. She was in between patients. I said, Ava, can you please come and speak to this woman? I said, and I told her the story. She walked in. She said, can I just take a look? She said, sure. She looked. She goes, does psoriasis run in your family? She goes, that's what he said. She said, well, you've got it. So it's not. It was inherent. It's up to us hairdressers to go take hair. You see, most hairdressers want to be creative, and they are. But there's a medical side to it too, that most of us just don't delve into. It's cut and color, cut and color. That's where the money is. Treatment is ancillary. It's that something that upsell, but it's not. It's really making your cut move and flow, making your colors pop. Highlights go higher and lowlights go lower. So anyway, I just started researching botanicals, buying lots of books, and really reading them. But more than that, reading them into microcassettes and then transcribing them. Because for me, I needed to memorize. I needed to understand. So I wanted to know about the activity of tea tree oil. Is it an antiseptic? Yes. Is it antibacterial? Yes. Is it antimicrobial? Yes. What happens if you use more than 0.75% in the skin? You upset the immune system, which makes the immune system fight against it as opposed to work with it. So when you learn all this, when you go into formulating. So understanding botanicals are medicines, and you have to use them at responsible levels. Lots of testing went into this, just to show you. This is peppermint and avocado shampoo, 2.3%. I'm the first company to ever do this, Johnny. No one, why will Paul Mitchell not? Excuse me, please don't put that out in tape. Why will other brands not put the percentages proudly on the front? Even the best brands from France all say pure plant extracts. And I said, where's the number? When I said to myself, a woman said to me, you're so talented, you need to get your ass to LA and do celebrity here. Because if you stay in Boston, you're going to be doing students with coupons for the rest of your life. And you know what happened the next morning? I got on a plane and left. You want to talk about saying something meaningful. So I got out here and I immediately fall into the whole celebrity clique. It was instant for me. It was so like free flowing, it was meant to be. But then I realized that the products that we're getting from these companies were truly inferior. 30 years ago, soap and water is the norm. We grew up on soap and water. Your parents did. Everyone from the year 1900, when Ivory soap went on the market and people stopped making soap at home. So the industrialization of America kind of stripped us of all intelligence and creativity because you could buy it for, was it 3 cents or 5 cents a bar? Anyway, and that's what people started washing with from head to toe, Ivory bar soap. And then, of course, corporations are into bottom line. So they're into soap and water and stories. Minimal, it's called label claim. Label claim amounts of activity. Enough to make a label claim, enough to write about it, enough to convince you, Johnny, you, Alicia, to understand that this is the most amazing thing that's ever happened. I said, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything. I said, I like the smells, but I didn't feel anything. You use peppermint and rosemary. I said, I didn't feel anything. I was hungry to feel it. And I said to myself, product is missing 35 years ago. I said, product is missing a physical, emotional connection. And then I started realizing that soap and water is the norm and corporations are never going to give it. So I thought, well, why not me? So I whipped up peppermint and avocado shampoo at home and I got into the shower and I lit up my scalp. But then I said to my boyfriend, take off your clothes and get in the shower right now. And he goes, what? And I said, take off your clothes and get in the shower. And he goes, why? I said, you just do it. You're going to love it. And he goes, okay. So he gets in the shower and he closes the curtain and he's in there showering in our West Hollywood bungalow. And then he puts the water in his hair. And then I took my homemade shampoo and I went like this. And I reached in the curtain and I started to scrub it on his head. And after about 30 seconds, he went, whoa, you're going to be a millionaire. And I said, I'm not doing this to be a millionaire. I said, I'm doing this to reboot the scalp. I want to feel emotion. I want to feel joy. I want to feel wow. And then eventually, of course, when the word got out, Peter and his whole family were into what I was doing because they loved the idea of feeling it and smelling real activity. You know, products like rosemary mint, they were good, but I wanted great. I'm a talented man. Don't I deserve to have talented product? Why would you feed me soap and water, L'Oreal, with Kerastase? Why would you? Sorry, and silicones? Hey, a little bit's okay sometimes, but to make it all, ain't got no time for that. So that's not going to heal you or help you. So then as it went on, I'm so excited. This is Santa Fe shampoo. Santa Fe, I spent a lot of time going to New Mexico and touring the Indian reservations, but not as a tourist. We were sponsoring a child, so we would go and spend time with the family. And the Native Americans are into making their own healing botanical compositions. This concept is juniper and sage at 5. You can see it says 10% right here. Yeah, it's 10% because again, botanicals and medicines use them at active, responsible dosing levels. 5% sage, 5% juniper. It's an opinion infused water base and an African shea butter base, and it's loaded with chlorophyll. See the color?
Nice.
Oh my God! If you wash your face with this just once, you'll call me and say that was amazing. Your hair turns to silk. It smells so. It's a botanical bullet. Brooke Shields called me years ago. She goes, my husband and I are in Santa Fe and it smells just like your shampoo. I said, it does. The air is permeated with juniper and sage growing wild in the Sangre de Cristos all around the city. So it just permeates the air. And when they're burning the pinon wood during winter, the whole city, you just smell it. And this is what you get. Now they use pinon for balancing energy. So in a stressful time, wouldn't you like to just get into a shower and inhalate? So here's what I realized. One morning I got out of bed and I stubbed my toe. And I went, damn, because you wake right up. And then so I stubbed my toe and then I started thinking about levels of sleep and consciousness. We're in alpha right now. Alpha, we're talking. Then in between, as you're falling asleep, you can still hear everything, but you're half asleep. That's beta. Then when you go into REM, you go theta. That's when the house can burn down and you wouldn't know. When you come out of theta into beta, before you get to alpha, Alpha is when you open your eyes. When you speak, that really breaks the whole connection. And that's what happens when you get out of bed and you stub your toe. You're in beta, going to the bathroom. You're not alpha. You're not aware. Then you hit it. Then you wake. Boom. And I thought, how many times have I said to myself, and I ask my clients this, when you go to sleep, I said, you always think about what you have to do the next morning. But then you wake up the next morning and you can't remember what you had to do. I said, it's almost like a whiteboard in your head. You make a whiteboard list and you try to memorize it, and then it erases while you're sleeping. And then as you wake up, it starts to pop back onto the board. And I thought, what would be the best way to wake up in the morning? What's better than a cup of coffee? Well, your scalp's got millions of nerve endings. Let's stimulate them. So that's how I came up with this baby. This is rocket fuel for your scalp. It is a scalp reboot. It's the same as turning your computer off and on. It comes back faster, sharper. You come out of the shower fully conscious after 3-4 minutes with this on your scalp. When I first made this, the editors at Vogue in New York were all coming up to get it done at the Bergdorf Goodman Fekkai salon where I was doing my treatments. And they used to want to leave it on. They used to take stories on paper this thick. And can I leave the scalp? Can I leave it on for while I edit? And I said, sure. And it's been on for an hour. We can wash it off now. And they would just sit there with hold all lathered up on their head, just editing, because the consciousness it raises. Mm-hmm. And I want to really activate people, and I want to use the shower as a way to transport you to places and spaces that you never ever thought you could go to. And what I mean by that is, after I did Santa Fe, I did white truffle shampoo. What the hell is that? This shampoo was in Food and Wine. It was in Gourmet Magazine. It was the chef's gift when I brought it out. Wolfgang Puck said to me, Philip, this is the best of the man and the best of the woman. It's sexy. And I said, Wolf, that's insane. But that's what he did. It made my hair stand up just remembering how he did it. I ran into him at the farmer's market in Beverly Hills, and he was so excited to tell me. You can see the marbleization in the formula. Those are plant concentrates. It's 23.2% plant concentrates. So everything's in there for a reason, to move your scalp, to groove your scalp, to clean your scalp, to disinfect. It's a botanical bouquet. If you could smell it, you would totally understand what I'm doing. But this is the most expensive formula I make. And it is probably one of the most gorgeous things I've ever made. And it's literally a botanical moisture bullet for super dry, dehydrated hair. Very successful. And again, you see the plant concentrates, you see the promise in writing, you see the percentages. So creating real was moving people.
And I think you hit definitely what resonates with so many people out in the world. I don't know if you're familiar with Beautytap. We have a whole community of experts. These are people who might work in your salon. These are makeup artists. These are skincare estheticians, cosmetology, people who lead on the ground floor the beauty revolution. And I get the amazing ability to work with them closely. We do weekly classes. I connect with them in product reviews. I lead them on education in this new kind of era of beauty after COVID or during COVID. Mm-hmm. And one thing I have definitely learned is they joined and stuck around because of the emotional connection they have with beauty. Some people love that high percentage of natural oils that would be found in your product because it really connects them with Mother Earth. It really restarts them. It gets them happy to start a new day. Your story with Pinion in New Mexico resonate with me because my family, my mother's side is from New Mexico, Cuba, New Mexico, and Albuquerque. And I grew up with Pinion incense burning at home. So I know exactly what you're talking about and how if in a skincare or hair care product, it just teleports me to a whole new place. And yes, I love how it feels. Yes, how I love it, how it makes me feel inside, but it also is doing so much more than just treatment. It's just a whole sensorial aspect that I love. The synesthesia of it all is amazing. And the community that I get to run with our beauty experts, you're hitting it all. It's, yes, we may be doing a scalp treatment, but then that client trusts me. they got teleported to New Mexico with me, and they're saying, oh my God, it felt good, it smelled good, but I had a deeper connection to it, and I'm going to try it again and again. And they fall in love with it for more than just its amazing benefit. So I completely connect with what you're saying.
Thank you. I want to bring to your attention that your brain catalogs over 100,000 scents. And if you think about it, when you walk in your front door and you smell fire, you don't relax, you get investigative fast. When you walk in your front door and you smell gas, you get investigative fast. But if you walk in your front door and you smell lavender oil, oh, it's relaxing. Or jasmine, you can create a spa environment. So everything's plugged in through your olfactory sense. It's all cataloged in, but it's connected to different parts of the brain.
Some of the most primal aspects of the brain.
It's all primal. The whole thing. I went to anthropology class at Harvard when I was 17. We did extension courses for fun because I was so interested in how humans innately thought from an instinctual point of view, not an educated, not with forks and knives, with your hands. So that for me was also part of the whole connection, was connecting us back to feelings that were nurturing, comforting, most important, safe. Everyone needs to feel safe. If you're not safe in your relationship, it's a bad relationship. If you don't feel safe in your home, it's a bad home. Also, everything, so it's all about creating nurture and safe. But again, because your brain catalogs over 100,000 scents and everything's plugged into different parts, emergency, relaxation, spa, enjoyment, sex, vanilla, sexual. You can move and you can emote feelings and emotions through the olfactory sense, and that's how I knew I could wake up my brain. So I use a medical grade mint. When I went to make this shampoo, my chemist said to me, you need to go to a supplier now. You can't make it like you do at home. And I said, why? And she said, because Philip, she said, your bottle has to be the same today as in 10 years. Yeah. You can't have variation. Your supplier is probably a local person. I said, actually they are. It's called Herb Products over in Magnolia in North Hollywood. Yeah, you can't do that. You need to take it to the next level. I said, but I'm using organic oils. And she said, yes, I understand. She said, they have everything at the suppliers. You just need to go speak to them. I said, can you give me a number? So she gave me a number to IFF at those days. I'm making a prototype and my chemist told me to call you. And I need to get some samples of some of your oils. So she said, sure, what do you need? And I said, well, I'm doing a shampoo with a very high percentage of peppermint. She said, well, what grade do you want? And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, we offer 3 kinds. And I said, well, what are they? She said, well, we have a cosmetic grade. It's 80% diluted with propylene glycol. And I said, well, what's that? She goes, it's a petroleum derivative. And I said, why do you use that? And she said, to cut it. It's an inert cut. It cheapens it for cosmetics. That's what cosmetics use. Oh. And I said, what else do you have? She goes, I have a 60% dilution. It's a little bit more expensive. And I said, how much is this? She goes, all right, listen. She said, 80% diluted is $10 per pound. She said 60% dilution with propylene glycol is $15 a pound. And I said, and what else do you have? And she said, we have a medical grade. She said, it's pharmaceutical. It's $25.50 a pound. It's 98% pure. I said, could you send that to me, please? So she sent that to me, and I made the shampoo exactly how I made it before. And you know what happened? I got an ice cream headache that gave me nausea and vomiting. And I was so sick. And I came out of the shower soaking wet, holding my head with soap running down me. And I was so nauseous and my head was pounding. And I literally stumbled to my bed and I held my head. And you know what went through my head? You're going to hurt your pregnant client. You're going to hurt people. Botanicals are serious, Philip. You better get real. You better understand your percentages and be responsible about everything you do, because this is one litigious country and you better dot your I's and cross your T's. So I hunkered down and I went back to my lab and I said to my group, I said, I want to make sure everything that we do is responsible. I said, I have so many clients from all walks of life, and whether they're pregnant or not, I can't hurt a person. We all know you can't put lavender on skin directly when you're pregnant. That's kind of common knowledge. Okay, you can't use any botanicals directly on the skin because they contain terpenes, and the terpenes are the delivery systems. Terpenes are the alcohols. When you smell something, you smell a flower. When you smell a rose, what you're smelling is the evaporation of the alcohols, the terpenes. So we're using terpenes for delivery system. New and exciting, humulene, osamine, nerolidol. Humulene is from hops. So it's like everything. Interesting about hops, though, is hops can actually stimulate menstruation in women. Crazy. Yeah. All you have to do is hang them dried in your kitchen. Happened to my mother-in-law at 66 years old. She got a period back, and she lives in Munich. She went, and Germans are highly investigative. So she went and she figured it out. It was the hops hanging from the ceiling during Oktoberfest. She said, "What did you do?" She goes, "I pulled them down and threw them out immediately. I don't want my period back." Yeah, she couldn't believe it. Isn't it incredible? Botanicals really, really can affect you in the most craziest ways. So you need to really have a greater understanding, a macro view. And that's what I want to do, is have a macro view. And by the way, people are people all over the world, whether you're in Japan or Afghanistan, it's the same love and the same heartbreak. Everyone's same feeling.
It definitely is a global connection, these ingredients. No matter where you're at in the world, we know what rosemary is, we know what lavender is, and we all have stories connected to it. And I love that products can really take you to that experience, that memory, and have an amazing benefit too. So I wouldn't do my job if we asked some questions from our experts, and I'm sure Alicia, you have amazing questions. So I would love to ask a few questions, hit on some topics that our community wants to know about the scalp, the hair, frizz, and everything else. So wonder if we can ask you some questions and get some expert answers from you.
Okay.
And thank you, Philip. I mean, you're such a wealth of information. It's like having a conversation with Wikipedia here.
Definitely.
I hope it's better, because I don't really trust Wikipedia all the time. It's not our go-to source for information. I have a lot of conversations. Ava's one of my close friends, Dr. Ava Shamban, and having her, we met through clients, because I actually did a treatment. One of my clients owns hotels in Vegas, and I was doing her hair, and I said, "I'm so excited because I developed this oil treatment, which I know you love, but it works on psoriasis." She goes, "My daughter has psoriasis." I said, "Oh, I want to give her a treatment." I gave her a treatment. She said, "My itching stopped." I said, I know. So you went to the doctor who owned the Psoriasis Research Center, and she said, "I want to know why this guy who's a hairdresser developed a product that makes my scalp clear and itching stop, and you can't do that." So the doctor called me, and she said, how did you do that? And I said, "Come over and I'll show you." And that's how Ava and I solidified our bond many, many, many moons ago. Can I just show you also something else? We could talk. Actually, if you want to ask me some questions, I can get into more demos.
And we can call you Philipedia. How's that?
I'll take that. That's good.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Thank you. Johnny, whenever you're ready, I'm so excited to answer them, because I have really great answers.
I'll hand it off to Alicia. She has some amazing questions to ask you, and I'll throw in a few expert questions.
Okay.
There's so much, Philip. We don't have enough time in a day, obviously, with your wealth of information. But, we talked about proper scalp care, and obviously you're the maestro here, that healthy hair comes from a healthy scalp. But zeroing in on some of the challenges that people have: dry scalp, dandruff, oily scalp. If you could share a bit about what our community can do to address these challenges at home.
Yes. For dandruff, is a side effect of an overproduction of Malassezia, the fungus in the scalp. Everyone has a natural, in your microbiome, you have fungus and yeast naturally present. And when you're overproducing one, some people are more prone to it. And you will find flaky, itchy scalps. And that's because the organisms are multiplying faster than the immune system can control it. And in that case, you have what they call chasing in the medical community. Chasing is when you're chasing a problem, but you're never going to catch it. So I said to myself, how can we catch the problem? Well, of course, in my life, I ended up dating someone who had the worst dandruff in the world. And I said, this is the best place to start. I sat down and I said to myself, what inhibits fungus in the scalp? And of course, tea tree oil is the first thing that comes to your mind. So you would go into, of course, juniper and sage, antibacterial, antiseptic. What would soothe the scalp? What would soothe really dry, flaky scalp or itchy scalp? Aloe vera concentrate. You really want to knock that percentage up to around 7% to really get an amazing reaction. I started composing just like this as I speak to you, and I write it down as I speak to myself out loud. And I used it on someone who I was dating, who had the worst dandruff in the world and worked for Chanel and had flakes all over his black coat every day while he painted your face. And I said, I don't know how you deal with it because I can't control it. So I made this, and then I thought to him, I went to the pharmacy in Beverly Hills, and I said to my girlfriend who owns the pharmacy, the biggest celebrity pharmacy there, I said, can you show me what all the celebrities are using? And she said, yeah, sure, come with me. So she said, blah, blah, blah uses this, blah, blah, blah uses that. And I said, these are not Head and Shoulders. This is like high level. So it's 5%, 3% coal tar, zinc at 2 and 3%. I said, wow, you get 1% zinc if you're lucky. And coal tar, forget it. Not on the open market. They didn't know when you have to go into medical. So then I went home and I called the manufacturers of coal tar and I said to them, I said, where do I need to be to work in tandem with the immune system so I don't upset the immune system? But what I need to do is control the fungus in the scalp. They said, you really want to be at about 0.5%. I said, thank you. So that, and I mixed it with 1% zinc, and I did what every other shampoo didn't do. I put the botanicals with the terpenes into the product to help deliver the medications into the scalp. So anyway, the first time we used it, we had 1.5 days with no flaking. But then we came up with the idea, if we pre-wash the scalp of all the dead cells, the sebum, and the debris off with something like peppermint that will lift it away using the alcohols and the evaporation, as it evaporates, you feel that cooling sensation, it's actually doing something. It's lifting away the dead cells, it's detoxing, it's helping to knock out a percentage of organisms that are unhealthy, but not wiping out the scalp like Head and Shoulders. Okay, so you do one wash with this, and then you follow it up with anti-flake with one wash with that. You'll have 3 days, no recurring flakes. So many clients have come up to me. I adapted this whole concept to psoriasis because even though psoriasis is autoimmune, there's a crossover there with the way the scalp reacts. So when I adapted this using oil to dissolve the patches, and then I brought in the doctor, when we started using Dovinex, vitamin D supplement, which is by prescription, and most psoriatics have this product at home, and they have to put it on. The problem is they're putting on barriers, thick layers of dead skin that build up on the scalp. So they're putting it on top of that. So the barrier of skin is, the dead skin is sucking up the medicine and it's not allowing it to permeate. So I came up with this idea that if we could just dissolve the patches off the scalp gently without breaking, because normally they rip it off and create blood and scabs. By doing it with oil, it slithers off, leaving a pink patch of skin like it's never seen the light of day. So then I took an oxygen tank and a nebulizer, which is used in facials for oxygen facials, and I dumped the Dovinex into the nebulizer and I started to infuse it into the scalp because oxygen is the best for transdermal delivery. Of course, we had amazing reactions to the point that the manufacturers of Dovinex sent all the reps to me to teach them what I was doing. Leave it to me. I don't know. Look, I'm a hairdresser, guys, but I'm a hairdresser that wanted to go to the next level. Fortunately, I had a clientele of intelligentsia in Hollywood that gathered around me. Even Michael Eisner from Disney called me and said, my family and I were in the Snake River and we had peppermint shampoo all over ourselves. We were jumping up and down saying, I'm tingling, I'm tingling. And I'm like, thanks for telling me. You know, you don't get that from Breck. You didn't get that from anything growing up. You know, herbal essence, sorry. No, you didn't get it. You got a bunch of artificial fragrance, soap and water. So, sorry, I'm off.
That's an interesting jumping point too, Philip, because I know, and this is on our topics, that you have SLS in some of your shampoos, and there's such misconception about it, and you explained it to me. I remember when I last saw you a year or so ago, and I'd love for you to share that because people think SLS bad, well, but you have a whole
straight up it can rip it up. SLS straight up is what they use in dish soap. You know, we grew up on dish soap. What do you think Breck was? It was SLS food coloring and water. Sorry, they didn't even put panthenol in it back then. But we grew up in a world of nothingness. And it was so sad to me that my industry, they were like laughing at us from corporate America. I felt hairdressers we're getting inferior product. And they're selling it to us in such ways that they're buying it in droves because the marketing machine is so enormous. And they're buying and they're using product that can't optimize their color or their cuts and make it move and groove. That can't even out the hair's porosity, which is another thing we should talk about is porosity. When you go for color, if you're dyeing your hair brown, guarantee that your last 5 inches of your length, Alicia, if you went brown, you get the last 5 inches, if you're not careful, will grab too dark because after about 4 to 6 inches off the scalp, as you go down the hair shaft, it loses connection to its food supply, the oil glands in the scalp. And that's when hair starts to, so to speak, I call it pruning. Pruning, because you start off like a plum and then it ends up like a prune, all dried out and crinkled. And that's when I realized I needed to even out hair porosity to get my colors to take evenly. So I needed to pre-treat the hair with what hair eats. What hair eats is sebum from the scalp. So you need to do an oil treatment. If you do oil before color on any type of hair, whether it's fragile, coarse, whatever, you'll get a much more even color load that the hair shaft, that the hair itself will absorb. So solutions, you know, you look for solutions for yourself. And if you can't find them, as one of my clients who made all the most famous movies in the world said to me, you can't find it, you make it. I said, thanks, I will. And I did. I kept on doing it, and I keep on doing it. And oleosomes, amazing raw material. I was only used in baby care and skincare for time-release moisture delivery into the epidermis. I applied it in very high doses. It's high up on my ingredient deck to the top. The product, instead of water in the base, it's mostly oleosomes. That's what your hair needs.
And what are they, Philip? Oleosomes in layman's?
Oleosomes are the DNA of safflower seeds, cold pressed. How much more natural could you ask for technology? What happens is if you grind up the seeds, if you grind it up with half seeds, half water, it creates a brown solution. And then in about an hour, the sediment falls to the bottom. So then you get a clear top and you get brown in the bottom. So you siphon off the clear. And then if you look at that under an electron microscope, you'll see nanomolecular beads of fat that actually encapsulate and hold unstable actives like amino acids or vitamin C for the skin. They also hold fragrance. So now I can fragrance the hair for up to a week. Now, if I use real essential oils, not headachy artificial fragrances, you can infuse the hair with such scents that actually make waking up so pleasurable, because if your husband's spooning you or your boyfriend, he's going to be like, smelling the back of your head in the morning. And how I know that is because I do it. And I'm just
with the SLS, how does that
SLS.
small I know you have like certain levels of it, but people are so anti-SLS and it's such a misconception.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab something. This is how I learned. This is SLS, palm olive. That's all it is. It comes out, it's got a little food coloring in it. Okay, you see that? Now, if I wash that into my hand and I emulsify it, it's going to just lift out everything out of my skin. Now, if I take oil and I put this onto the SLS and then I mix it, what happens is it starts to go creamy. Now, every chemist in the world is going to tell you, go to a lab and speak. They're all going to tell you there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a cleanser. Why are people hyping on this? This is what I go through. I have people on this thing going, and I got my chemist going, there's nothing wrong with it, Philip. I go, I know, but I can't convince this because someone went on an Oprah show and rang an alarm. Sorry, let's get educated about it. If you put oils into SLS, fats and lipids, you get cream. The creamier it is, the less abrasive it is. You can create a balance between moisturizing and cleansing without stripping. It's just a cleanser, guys. Sorry. It's not parabens. We're not talking parabens here. We're talking about a coconut-based cleanser. So it's all, you know, if you go to the educated side of it, the argument is just too real. I mean, the chemists are just like, Philip, there is nothing wrong with SLS. The public is so misinformed. It's really sad for us that we have to start using cleansers that are inferior.
They're not effective. Well, I have an interesting thing to share, and you're going to love this because your scalp scrub saved me. I had a patch, and I know we wanted to talk about oily hair. I had a patch of oily hair right back here, right about here.
Yep.
I'd wash my hair. It would not go away. It was like permanent oil. My daughter would say, Mommy, wash your hair. It's so oily. I said, I just washed it an hour ago. You know, it had dried. That scalp scrub got rid of it. 1, 2, 3. I mean, it's like a new me now.
Thank you. I just had an amazing review come out as well. Thank you so much. I researched salts when I made it because salts are not all created equally. Himalayan sea salt, which is used in some scrubs, is really a mineral. It's not a salt. Sea salt is 30% less sodium than table salt. That's awesome. So it really doesn't cure your hair like wood bacon, like salt, it's not the same as what you're thinking. Also, the ion blends of salt are different depending on where they're from. And so Australian sea salt is mined between Australia and Antarctica, where the waters are icy cold. So it's got a 50-50 ion blend. Now that might not mean anything to you, but what it means to me is when you scrub that into your scalp, as the salt kernels dissolve into the formula, it controls fungus in the scalp and it helps to clean out the follicle openings. And then using peppermint and eucalyptus at efficacious levels, it helps to also lift out everything. You can feel the evaporation going. The more evaporation I'm feeling, the cooling, the more I know it's lifting, because as it's all evaporating, it's lifting everything out. You have to lift it out. It's like I did a really interesting experiment with a black magic marker in Formica, whereas I just stained it with Formica, and then I took this and I took this and I put it on and I tried to get the stain out, and it just left a yellow stain. But then I took pure peppermint oil and I poured it over it, and then I went like this, and it just lifted it right out before my eyes. And I was like, there you go. There you go. When you see that, you get so excited because you're seeing reality, and you're really like, wow, I can do this to a scalp. So it's incredible.
With Philip, would you say then, do you do the scalp scrub first and then the peppermint shampoo, or the other way around?
This is a shampoo. It's a cream shampoo.
That's all you need. Right. Yeah.
It's a cream. It's shea butter and it is a sulfate-free coconut base. We've gone sulfate-free because the public wants it. I have to tell you, engineering these formulas is not easy, because when you put sulfate-free cleansers and oils together, you get no lather. If you go and you look at brands that are out there that are on the shelf that are claiming to be organic, if you smell them, you have to smell what's in them. Come on, if it's a real rosemary shampoo, give me a good hit of it, not a bunch of soapy smell with a little hint. That's just more of the same. Do you want to reach for the stars and land on the moon? I mean, what do you want out of this? I do. It's my industry, and I'm proud of my talent, and I'm proud of what I've got. And that's what you need. You have to take great pride and stand up for what you believe in. So when it comes
we're grateful for your creations. I mean, we have more questions. I know Johnny definitely wants to ask you questions from our beauty professional community, but then I do, since you started it off talking about business and how you've really, outperformed during these wonky last 8 months. We want to get into some of that business side and branding side too, but let me allow Johnny, because I know he has some questions that you'll really appreciate from our community.
Johnny, that view is so mesmerizing behind you.
But yes, so I have the 2 questions, and I'm super excited about learning about business during COVID, how that works, but we'll get there in a second. So our expert community, these are hairstylists, these are experts like I mentioned. They got me a few questions for you. Please. So I'll do 3, and then we'll get to our big question I'm excited about. Question 1, what's up with dry shampoo? Is it good? How to use it? Should I use something else? What's the deal with dry shampoo?
Dry shampoo everything has its place in the world. Dry shampoo really came, I think the popularity excelled during World War I, when they started using powder on the scalp to dry up the oil, because you couldn't get to a shower if you were injured in bed and there were too many people. If you look at the history, I think it goes back to even ancient China. They used it. Dry shampoo is an interesting product. It is incredible. If you need a quick refresh, like Alicia said, she gets an oily patch. Seriously, you have no time to go shampoo that oily patch sometimes. Take some dry shampoo, make a part, and just blast it in. And then take a brush and just brush it. And what it is it's just a cornstarch-based powder most of the time. And it just absorbs the oil, and then the brush carries it away. And I guarantee you, Alicia, if you do that and you look at the brush is going to have the powder in the brush, but not in the hair. Even if it's translucent and you can't see the powder, it's amazing. When you brush it, it's all in the brush. The brush is your best vehicle for your hair. You have 100 to 140,000 hairs in a human head. You need to be able to touch them all in a snap. So that means brush. So I made an incredible brush, which I should go get and show you. So dry shampoo, if you live in a humid climate, people in humid climates, interesting enough, Hong Kong, one of my best markets for 20 years plus, they don't use dry shampoo. It's so humid, they go home and shower. And same, I would imagine if you lived in Florida, you would just come back from going to Bal Harbor and you'd be soaking wet carrying your bags in the door, right? You're not gonna go throw some dry shampoo. You're gonna get in the shower and feel better again. So people do less blow dries in hot climates and hot humid climates. Hot dry climates, dry shampoo is on fire. Hollywood, can't live without it. Ain't got no time to go to the set, make a part, spray it into the scalp. Because that's where your oil glands are in the scalp. They're coming, oil secreting from the scalp. Like, oh, Alicia, by the way, you said you have overactive sebaceous glands. When I first made mint shampoo, women started coming back to me. Now, I had no idea this was going to happen. Coming back to me and saying, my oily scalp went away. What you did is amazing. I can go now 2 days between shampoos instead of 2 and 3 times a day shampooing. I heard all these stories from different women. They don't know each other. So I said, that's how I started gathering information. Where were we? Sorry.
No, I think you hit it. So dry shampoo, great for the convenience, but if we can get you into a good hair regimen for your hair needs, far better than only relying on dry shampoo.
Women, listen, if you have long hair, I had long hair for years. I was not going to blow dry that animal every day and fight with it. Okay. So I would get up in the morning and I would dry shampoo if I was oily on day 3. You know, and you just brush it out and then you hit it with a blow dryer and you look like and it feels clean. You feel it feels so clean and good again. So it's fine, but it's not women and men who use this product. If they go 3, 4, and 5 days, that's not healthy. And
got it. Oh, that's a good question. Sorry to throw that out there. What is your recommended weekly calendar of shampooing? How many days should go in between, or is it different for everyone?
It's different for everyone because everyone has a different routine. I like to spend, when I get off that bike, I'm all about a shower again. So I'll shower in the morning, and then this is my routine. I just get up, take a shower, then go to the gym, then I come back sweaty, then I shower again. Yeah, everyone's different. So I think shampooing, I have very healthy, resilient scalp with thick Mediterranean hair gene. For me, I could shampoo every 2 or 3 days. I think that's pretty much the regimen for most people. If you have chemically treated hair, maybe you want to go 3 or 4 days. I don't subscribe to the no poo concept, and I can break that down for you as well.
Got it. Next question. This was a big shout out from our experts. When we get into the age range 50 and on, of course, the body changes your whole life, right? But with that age group, things happen. Thinner hair, brittle hair, less oils and sebum. Would there be any suggestions for that age range from you?
Yes, absolutely. Another thing you have to understand is as the collagen levels are dropping in the skin, I spoke to Ava about this, the doctor, and she's like, that's a really interesting point. As your skin ages, your follicles are aging as well. The collagen is the fuel for us. And as that's diminishing, everything is shrinking, follicles are shrinking, the skin is sagging, it's losing elasticity. You also have to remember that there's one thing that we have to talk about is the melanocyte. The melanocyte is the gland that produces the melanin of the hair. That's what makes my hair brown, your hair brown. I can't say it makes your hair blonde, but close enough. The melanocyte, when it contains, pigment has 3 molecules, color, moisture. Moisture is the 3rd molecule. When your melanocyte shuts off and your hair turns gray or silver, you lose that extra molecule of moisture, and that's why your hair can get wiry, or almost like, as clients would say, my hair looks like pubic hair, because it lost that extra molecule of moisture that kept it smoothed out, and also follicle shapes change with age as well, and pregnancy, by the way. You can also, so many women have come back to me after having a baby, literally right after, and saying, look, my hair is curly. And I'm like, or they get patchwork where it's curly in the nape and straight on top. Talk about a dilemma. That's when I started understanding, but when a woman makes a baby, what she goes through, versus a male versus a female. It's interesting, because a woman has to produce dihydrotestosterone to make an embryo male. And then after that umbilical cord's cut, it flushes out through the follicles, and it throws the follicles into a state of telogen effluvium, makes them fall asleep, and the hair fall out, and the women get sad because the hair's falling out. And they don't realize it grows back though.
So following from that question, we change everything, be it pregnancy, like you mentioned, or age. For guys and gals, sometimes we get patches of alopecia and just hair loss in patches. Is there any specific ingredients we should look out to help that? We know we can't pretty much get rid of it, but we can help it to some extent, correct?
Alopecia is autoimmune. and it comes and goes. It really depends on how strong your immune system is, how stressed out you are at the time. I've had so many clients with it. In the Middle East, they have an interesting remedy where they use a friction therapy, which is done by some doctors here. It's really old-fashioned, and it does work. When I came back, I spoke to a dermatologist girlfriend about it, and she was like, yeah, they do that here too, where they drop an acid onto the scalp and it burns the spot, and then it scabs up and it falls off and the hair grows back. That's different to going for steroid shots on the scalp, which is most common and tends not to work as well. In the Middle East, what they did was they used a wool rag and they roughed up the area and then used lemon juice to burn it. And he said, it hurt like hell. The sheikh said to me, it hurt like hell. And I said, what happened? He said, I went home, it scabbed up, it fell off, and the hair grew back. And I said,
interesting.
So, there are some dermatologists that do this type of irritation therapy on alopecia. So that's just one option. You can look it all up online, of course. I think products to look for, listen, I made things to soothe the scalp, to heal the scalp. You want to go into something like a CBD, CBG combination. This is wonderful for soothing psoriasis. I've had such great results with psoriatic scalps. You can see it's 100 mgs of CBD, 25 mgs of CBG, which is the mother plant. So you can get more of a wide spectrum. Everything's claiming full spectrum. If you really look at the science of it, there's no such thing as full spectrum. You can get wide, but there's no full. Also, all the cannabinoids, they all do something different. Some are more psychotropic, some are not psychotropic, some work on pain receptors more. So what you want to do is using for a problem scalp, even with psoriasis, you need to, or alopecia, you need to get that immune system calmed back down again, and you need to get it back up. That's really the goal. If your immune system's up, it's like shingles. That's a really interesting dilemma for a lot of people, because that has to do with your immune system. As you age, your immune system weakens. And that's when viruses that live in your body, because they tend to live in the base of the nerves, that's when they can come out and ravage you when your immune system's low. And that's from aging. Using products like Santa Fe with chlorophyll, that will guarantee you help your scalp so fast your head will spin. Again, you just see the efficacy in the product. It's all there. This isn't food coloring, guys. This is real. These pigments are made from photosynthesis. They're oxygenated molecules. You know, one of my big problems I had when I made my brand is because these formulas are so real, we had to thicken the bottles because bottles were expanding from all the oxygen in them. These are breathing. Clients would say to me, you can smell them through the bottle because they're porous. They emote what's in it. So you can smell through. It's interesting.
From that last question, and this will be my last question from our experts.
Wait, one more thing.
Yeah.
Again, the Forever Shine products with the oleosomes for dry scalp, dry hair. Because oleosomes have always been used in skincare from baby care on up, adapting it to shampoo helps the scalp stay moisturized longer. Because if your scalp tends to be dry, I want to just say this, most of the time dry skin comes from your lungs. It's the humidity. You know, everyone thinks when you get on an airplane, drink that water, drink that water. Carry a nebulizer. That's what I do. And when you put that over, you put some water in it, and you breathe the water and you moisturize your lungs. And then you get off the plane, your skin's amazing. That's because your lungs filter the moisture for your skin. You can look it all up. I just did. I didn't just do it now. I actually did it to send to someone because I did an interview about this. They were really, it was all focused on dry skin and dry scalp. And I said, my advice to you all, get a humidifier in your bedroom in winter. Because in the summer, you're outside in the natural environment and you are living it. But guess what? If you're in Palm Springs where you have 17% humidity, your skin prunes up so fast, you look like a dry old thing. But if you are some old queen in Fort Lauderdale, you're looking all plump and great because of moisture. So you know what I'm saying? It's really you are a product of your environment. I got this in Germany. I have something called bronchiectasis. I was born with it. One of my lungs is dried out and it's non-functioning, and only the top of it. They told me this as a child, but of course, you know, you're going all around the world. Everyone's like, you're in Paris, you're all smoking. And they said one day, you're like, oh my God. Then you find out, no, you can't smoke anymore. So I stopped. But what I learned was more. This tells you the level of humidity in the air. Now, if you see between 40 and 60, it's smiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where your lungs are smiling. So this came out of my bedroom. So I'm running just at 39% humidity. So I'm just below the happy place. Now, if I put this outside, it will probably, I could tell you what it is because I have a weather station over here, but the humidity tends to be 17, 20. So your skin gets very dry here. You get cracked soles. You're like, why are my feet cracking? I'm putting moisturizer on them all the time. Because guess what? Your lungs are drying out and your skin is too. It's all coming systemically. So part of treating dry scalp and dry hair for me is humidifiers in the bedroom, because when winter comes and you live in New York, Boston, even in LA, it's cold. You throw the heat on. Guess what happens? You wake up and you're still dry. Why? Because you didn't breathe it.
And I think the industries, the consumer, just people are learning that we, because we have our deep roots at Beautytap in Korea, every Korean woman and man have a humidifier in their bedroom. They have handheld ones. They're making sure they get that moisture into the body, onto the skin. It's time for America to get on that bandwagon too.
I have a handheld nebulizer. I take it.
Oh yeah,
with
me too.
Battery operated. Sometimes the flight attendant goes,
order
"Can't
one
do that."
today.
And then they come over and apologize.
I have to order one. So it's just a handheld you take on the plane.
Yeah, you get it goes over. You hold it. You just it has a little chamber and you fill it with water and you put it over and it just immediately, as soon as you click it on, it starts to steam. And then you'll be amazed when you come off the plane. Guess what? Your skin feels great. You feel great, and you're not constipated because your cold gets it also from the lungs. Who knew? Guess what?
Yeah.
The internet knows. All you have to do is Google it.
You should be selling them, Philip. Just put the Philip B logo on, right?
Yeah, it could be interesting as far as being on brand. Hold on, I'm going to just touch on this quickly. I showed you white truffle earlier with all the loaded into it. That you smell, you open it, you smell it, you're like, it registers in all the best parts of the head. Again, the oleosomes in Forever Shine. When you're dry skin and dry scalp, inhalating moisture is part of it, but also remember, if your skin's dry, you put moisturizer on. If your hair is dry, you also put moisturizer on. Yep. That could be a leave-in conditioner. That can also be a spray-on conditioner. Anything that will deliver moisture, because hair dries out anyway. And I just want to show you. I love doing this. So you get into the shower in the morning and your hair looks like this, right? Yeah. At least the more your ends, because you have so much length. And then you put water on them and they start to swell up. And the water starts to absorb into the hair, and the hair swells by 30%. So that means your hair absorbs 30% alkaline water, which blows the cuticle open. So after you wet your hair will be all tangled, guaranteed. You don't even put the soap on. Then you take the cleanser, which is 5.5, and you put it on, and it starts to close the cuticle to stop the color from bleeding, close the cuticle to stop the hair from catching, and stop the hair from breaking. But again, when you rinse it, and as you rinse it with the water, it blows the pH back up and your cuticle opens and it's tangled, then you put the conditioner on. The conditioner contains, if it's a great conditioner, that's a leave-in here. Like Forever Shine, you'll get oleosomes and amino acids at very active levels. And what they'll do is they'll load into the hair the tiny nanolipids, which will keep your hair plumped up afterwards, because you want to have a thicker diameter, because as you go down the hair shaft, your hair starts off the root like this. By the time it gets to your ends, it looks like this. And that's why your ends are always drier and thinner. So I wanted to keep the hair plumped up after without having it full of high alkaline water. So by just doing this to it, that drops the pH immediately, closes the cuticle, and will help to give you a smooth, glassy surface to the hair. And I mean smooth and glassy. That's what.
And who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that?
Who doesn't? Everyone does. It makes it. Listen, styling time. Hairdressers say my styling time went down. It's so much faster working with your products. The hair dries faster because the hair is evened out the porosity, so it doesn't suck up huge amounts of water, so it dries incredibly quick. Well, if you load the hair with oleosomes, they're nanofats. That's what your hair eats. So it's not going to suck up water. And then, when the more porous it is, the more water it absorbs, the harder it is to dry. So I wanted to even out porosity so I could work quicker. Time is money. As much as we love what we do, nothing's worse than having your client waiting. So you need to be able to move. So I developed a way to make my career. I said, if it works for me, it will work for every hairdresser. You just have to be open to trying it. Try it. I don't need to be there. Experience it for yourself. It's real.
You got it. So this is my last question, and just a quick answer because I want to get to Alicia's questions. But this is probably the #1 requested question trending from our experts is, what is the importance of CBD, hemp oils, and cannabis product ingredients for hair care?
Scalp care. Here's a dead byproduct. It doesn't need to have CBD and CBG. Those work on pain receptors in the skin. So you don't, for me, people are always confusing the two. Great hair comes from greater scalp. So when you're working with medicinal, you really want to get down to the root of the problem. You get it into the scalp. That's alive. This is all dead. I just want to, I'll leave you with this. I don't have to leave you with this, but I'll just say, my chemist said to me, she came from Gillette, and when she was wonderful, and she's passed on since, she said to me, you have to remember something, Philip. Here's part of the human waste system. And I said, what? And it is. When you take medication, thyroid, hormones, estrogen, it comes out through the sebaceous glands in the scalp. That's why when you go and you get to surgery, the medicines that they give you, anesthesia, your hair falls out because it's coming out through the oil glands in the scalp. I asked the doctor, I said, what holds a powdered aspirin together? And he said, resin. So I said, how does your body discard resin? It comes through the oil glands. You can't sweat out oil. So your scalp is part of the human waste system. Hairdressers who watch this, many times as they're blow drying, they're accelerating the drying of the hair, they'll see plumes of steam go up. And within those plumes of steam is everything that you ate, drank, smoked, snorted, and did. And we're breathing it. I learned to detect odors from scalps. And I knew, I kept on smelling certain same odors from different people. And I said, are you taking medication? Thyroid comes out through the scalp. Then another one was estrogen, HRT. You can smell it coming out of the scalp. When you cut a man's hair and he's bald, he has too much DHT. If you smell your hands afterwards, you can smell the DHT. It's all over your hands. It comes out of the oil glands in the scalp. It's part of the human waste system. So you have to understand that no poo is no good. You need to keep it cleaned up. You need to keep it fresh. You need to keep it in line, just like your house. You don't just clutter it. You keep it clean so it always feels good. You don't want to wake up and go, oh my God, my company's coming. I gotta clean the whole house. Just wash the dish and put it in the dishwasher and your sink stays clean. Wipe it out, it's even better. Got to stay on your game, kids. No, you can't run a business with a dirty home. That's my best advice for all of you. The more organized you are. And I'm not serious.
That's a perfect segue. Johnny, you're good with your questions?
Yep. Thanks for answering those questions from our experts, Philip.
Oh, thanks, Johnny. I hope I did. I really do. I lived and I learned, and I love to share the information because helping people is what, the reason why you became a hairdresser is not because, listen, your friends were going to be investment bankers and you were thinking they're going to be the wolves of Wall Street and I'm going to be a hairdresser making a living. You know, you did that because you had a talent for making people feel good and it came out of your fingers and you made yourself feel good by making people feel good. So when people ask you, please help me, my scalp's dry, it's flaky, it's itchy, it's, I get oily patches, whatever, you want to be able to give them something when they come back to you and say, that was awesome, what else do you recommend? Instead of, it didn't really work, just blow dry my hair, I gotta go. Been there with other brands.
That sounds so uninspiring. So the perfect segue, because you're talking about your passion and for helping people and business. And you mentioned at the top of our conversation that business has been quite good. There was actually a New York Times story I had marked, I have to read it, the businesses that have thrived during COVID. And it sounds like things have been good. And we'd love to hear about what it's been like from you. And then also after that, just any advice that you have for the people out there who have a product idea, who have a passion. Your passion is so infectious. You know, you're a success story. After we discuss your business, if you have anything you'd like to share with those who are venturing out on their own.
My clients used to tell me that I was the American dream. When the secret came out, I was cutting hair and everyone was like, and I was coloring and doing treatments. I was like, I'm reading The Secret. I'm reading The Secret. And I used to say, just for fun, should I read The Secret? And they used to go, you're living it. One lady said to me one day, I wish I could put you in a bottle and take you home. I said, someday you will. I wanted to take what this could do, these two hands, and take it to another level where I could give you something, a system that would actually, you could take home and you could have an amazing result, and you could keep on moving and grooving in your own track, and then come over to my track and get your hair done and reboot and then back out again. You don't need to be reliant on me other than for the occasional bang trim every 2 weeks. So I think follow your passion. Numero uno, follow your passion. One of my ex-employees wrote to me yesterday, and he said, yeah, he said, I was devastated when I lost my job when I was furloughed. And I moved home in Florida. And he said, I was just offered a job at a roofing company, and I just feel it's going to compromise my whole life. And I told him, you stick to your guns, you stay in beauty because that's your passion. I said, you do not want to go into something else that's not lighting your fire. You have to find things that ignite you. That's how you're going to live life. If you don't make fun, well, you can go to a disco or you can make your own fun. So I think you have to make your own fun all the time. So I married someone that knows how to create. He's an artist and he works with all mediums. So as you can see this giant wood wall that's 15 feet, he built that himself. Do you see the bookcase behind me? 12 foot by 12 foot. Those are 4 IKEA bookcases cut up, reconfigured, and put back together to create a 12 foot by 12 foot bookcase to fit the scale of the room. That's who I wanted to be with. Someone that could move and groove in all mediums. So he makes furniture, he makes handbags, he makes jewelry, he does the design of my products now. And you put 2 passionate people that love to create together, and you will have a loving relationship. We're on 11 years, and it just keeps on going and growing because we keep growing. And I think passion, it's all about, passion's persuasive, passion's persistent. People told me your business would not be alive if you weren't so tenacious and persevered. It's true. It's David and Goliath, kids. I was fighting L'Oreal. Mm-hmm. Good luck on that. You, yourself, and you, and a paycheck that you earned yourself against L'Oreal. David.
You made it. And that's actually a good segue to you. What do you attribute to the success that sounds like you've experienced during COVID? Obviously, the time of people being at home. I mean,
Alicia, please. More people have written to me since this started. My scalp is freaked out. My skin is freaked out. Again, efficacious formulas. You don't need to know me to get a good result. If you use this and you feel good, my anti-flake shampoo. I mean, one day I was doing a woman's hair and she said, I'm Bob Redford's girlfriend. And I said, oh, nice to meet you. And she said, why don't you come to our premiere tonight? And I said, sure. And I went to their premiere, and then that night, Bob Redford walked up to me and he goes, you're Philip? Yeah. I said, yeah. He goes, thanks for fixing my scalp. I had a bad scalp all my life. I said, you're welcome. I looked at my friend who was with me and I said, she goes, Bob Redford. And I said, oh my God. It's like when you have, I'm out there and I meet people all the time, famous and not famous, and they love to tell me their stories of success with the brand. They didn't know me when they found it. My brand makes friends for me. I think of these as my children. And I grew up in Boston, and I didn't get that chance to go to Harvard full time, but they did. Every one of them. They're freaking Ivy League genius in every bottle and tube that when you go home, it's going to make you go, and wow. And that's what I want. And that's what I wanted for me. So if I don't go wow, and then my clients don't go wow, it never goes on the market and you never feel it. I need to go wow. I need to feel it, and seriously, and you need to feel it too. And I always tell everyone.
Feeling it. I told you, I'm feeling it. That's
no, you are.
Me.
Thank you. I believe that every time I do an interview for years, I would say, have you ever tried my products? If they say no, I said, do you have time to hold this interview till I can get you a package? And then they would use it. And when the ones that use it and they would rewrite it, and it was a very passionate story versus someone who never tried it and is just trying to catch my drift. Look, I always say experiment and experience. And you might find that in a world where everything's recycled and dredged up, there might be something new and cool.
Well, and being a journalist myself, somebody speaking with you and not having experienced your products in advance, at least one thing, you have to have some jumping off point. Certainly a conversation with you will inspire an immediate diving into trying your products. But I think as a journalist, you have to have the experience. That's the right thing to do.
On everything that you write, listen, when I started my product, I said to myself, and it's true, if you make this really awesome, Philip, you're going to get so much editorial. You won't need to advertise. because they're hungry for good writing. These are journalists that want to write great stories, but no one will give them the real thing. So I tried an experiment. I gave them the real thing. It exploded before my eyes, bigger than I could handle. And when Vogue did the first Vogue story on me in 1993, and they said things like, the treatment gives you the hair of a heroine in a romance novel. And my little business, hey, listen, Johnny and Alicia, I had one phone line and I was taking orders. I had 500 calls an hour coming in. You don't understand what you're getting into as a small business person. When you get success could be the biggest curse too. So you have to make sure that you have the infrastructure to handle it all. But you don't even know what that is until you get there and it slams you, body slams you, and you're bleeding from your mouth. And you're like, how am I going to get off the floor and recover from this one because I'm bleeding internally? And you really are, because the orders, you can't fill the orders. You've got millions of people that want your product, and it's just you, yourself, and you making product. You're lucky if you could produce 1,000 bottles of each on your own. So you have to go out and find.
You made it through that.
I did, but I have to tell you, it was very manic. Business is not made for the weak stomach people. This has really been, many times I said, why did I do this? Why did I do this? Because you find yourself, listen, when the economies tank, you know what happens? I went like this, 2009. And when this epidemic hit, I was in Japan, but I knew I had to go to Japan, and I was freaking out because it was in China, and we work in China. And I said, I'm a little worried about going to Japan. And they was, oh, you have to come, you're booked on television. And I said, oh, please, okay. So I said, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna get in and get out. So when we flew over there was no COVID. And while we were there, after 3 days, the first case came. And I was like, oh my God. So I ran home, and then my CEO called me and she said, what are we gonna do? Should we cut production? I said, ramp up. And I'll tell you why. In 2000, I opened Hong Kong. In 2001, we had bird flu. Or was it swine flu? One of the flus, I can't remember anymore, it's so long ago. All I can tell you is this. My buyer called me from the choice department stores. And she said, I need product, overnight it immediately, I need product. And I said, what the hell's going on over there? She said, everything's closed, movie theaters closed, schools closed, everything's closed. People are up in their apartments. They have to wash away the invisible virus. They want the best soap. That's you. Mm-hmm. So I said to Melissa, I said, the same thing will happen now. I said, people will realize that Suave isn't doing it anymore. You better go for the gold, kid, because this is life or death now. And that's what I live in it. I live it myself. I'm my own best guinea pig. Everything I've created, I said, I'm going to be my own best guinea pig. And every time I ventured off and tried something else, I regretted it. I had hair to hair, and I tried some conditioner that was left in it brand new in a shower at a friend's house. And for 3 days, I was crying. The silicone on my hair made it so brittle, I was freaking out. So you know what I did? I dumped tons of oil on top of it, and I just heated it. And I had to just melt that silicone off my hair. It took forever. That stuff adheres. Do you think,
Philip, that people, I mean, your clientele is a little, because it's a premium product, especially the Russian Amber Gold line, that it was a certain
5% amino acid concentrate. You won't find that anywhere. And the concentrate.
Yeah, it's a dream. I love that mask. It's in my shower now. Mm-hmm. Do you think that people were craving that premium product, that effective premium product? What?
Oh my God, work in Hollywood 30 years ago, where Sandra Bullock came in 30 years ago and her hair was bleached blonde from a Disney movie. And then they put it back to brown. It was so crispy. And she's like, I need your help. And I said, sit down. And I put oil all over her scalp and I heated it. And she came to me every other day and we got her hair so healthy again. No one's making remedies. What they're doing is they're making promises and advertising that makes you believe, and then you go and you use it. And you keep on hoping it's going to work, hope it's going to work. That's why they came up with the expression, hope in a jar. I want you to make reality in a jar. You should get your money's worth. You have to pay more for real. Hey, when you go to a Rolls Royce or a Ferrari dealer or a Chanel store, it's a hell of a lot different going to a Chanel store than an H&M. We lived in H&M, and then this pandemic came and people realized, hey, I better up the ante. So not Chanel, more on a medical level. So what I do is I wanted to create cosmeceutical hair care. That was my goal. Cosmeceutical in 1988 was the buzzword. Everyone's like, cosmeceutical. And it makes sense. You want to make a cosmetic product on a pharmaceutical level. So you can actually, you want to hit that threshold of pharmaceuticals so you can still say over the counter, not by prescription, but you can actually deliver results. So everything comes from plants. Valium comes from valerian root. Everything comes from plants. Oleosomes are literally the DNA of safflower seeds. So by using the components of, there's no such thing as a miracle molecule, but you can mix molecules to create miracles.
People really went back to their roots.
They came to me, and people from all walks of life use Philippi because everyone gravitates to the most expensive thing I make, but I make products that start in the 20s.
Yeah.
And 30s. I mean, most of my products, my oil's $35. I mean, Nicole Kidman lives in it. And that's from her Vogue article, not mine. She came out today, actually, another article about it that was taken from her.
Well,
Vogue.
her curls in The Undoing were a great endorsement for you because her hair looks so phenomenal in that show.
Yeah, she does. She really does oil it. I know what she's using, and I know what she does. She loves Forever Shine. I just not only shipped to the next movie set for her, but to her house in Nashville. We also did Ariana Grande's tour with where Josh took us on tour. Her hairdresser wanted to use all the products on her on tour. Every time I turn around, I meet a celebrity, Leslie Ann Warren. Leslie Ann Warren called me last week and she said to me, I just want to know something. And I said, what? And she said, how come your products are the only things that really work? She goes, my hair is young again. She said, my hair is so frizzy. She said, it's so difficult. She said, and it's just gotten worse over the years. She goes, but since I started using your stuff, she said, Philip, I want to know why. She said, and then she started holding up to the screen everything, this one, right? And I said, yeah. I said, anti-aging is more than fruits and nuts. Sorry. I mean, you got to get more sophisticated. Take the components out of the plants that you can really accelerate and quantum leap everything, skin and hair and scalp. And then start combining them and creating harmonious formulas that not only smell great, but work like and transport you. Get out of a shower feeling alive. Full alpha. Boom.
That's always my motto with
I have a personality when I'm done with you. All of you.
I always tell my daughter, stay curious and do what makes you feel alive. And that's why I love to travel, because it makes you feel so alive.
And you learn so much.
Yeah, the education.
Oh my God. In Thailand, for instance, the Makru shampoo, every Thai person, everywhere I did this, taxi driver. Do you know Makru shampoo? Oh, it makes hair shiny, makes scalp so healthy. I went to this Tops food market and I walked to the produce department and I said to the person, do you know Makru shampoo? Oh, it makes hair so shiny, makes hair so healthy. I'm like, this is amazing. I went to the hotel front desk. I said, can I ask you a question? Have you ever heard of Makru shampoo? Oh, it makes hair so shiny, makes hair so healthy. You know what it is? It's made from the kaffir, lime, and jasmine flowers. It's a beautiful formula. We don't have it in America. I plan on bringing it. Katira. I was working with the princesses in Kuwait, the whole royal family, the prince, the princesses, everyone, all the sheikhs and sheikhas. And I was in Kuwait several times. I have stores there and I sell there. They love me there. And I love them. And they said to me, the girls there are so funny. I met them in New York through their brother, who's the Sheikh of Chic. Owned all the Chanel, Gucci, everything in the Middle East is owned by him. So his sisters came and they came over and we had lunch and we had a great time. They said, you have to come to Kuwait. And I said, I'm going to come. We're opening 6 stores. So I went to Kuwait and they said, Philip, can you blow dry our hair? And I said, sure. Now these girls have the silkiest, smooth, straight, black hair. And as soon as I washed it, it crinkled up and turned to the coarsest, tightest curls. And I said, oh no, what did I get myself into? So I started blowing it out and it was blowing out. I'm getting it straight, but not like that. And I stopped and I said, all right, what's the secret? And they said, what? And I said, how did you get your hair that silky and straight? And they said, Katira. And I said, well, what's that? Sorry, what's Katira? And they said, you never heard of Katira? And I said, no. They had their servants go to the souk the next day. And they came back with Katira. It's literally a plant gum comes from Iran. And if you look it up, it was the rage of Iran in the 70s for straightening the hair. Men also use it as a hair gel.
Are you going to incorporate it into any product?
I already make it. I've been making it for years. And I love it when I do my training classes, when I have people our age who grew up in Tehran, and I'll say, do you know Katira? And they'll go, no. And I'll go, Katira. And they go, you know Katira? And then sometimes they cry.
That and
I
Magrud.
was a little girl. Look, I have to show you. Oh, please, now I gotta find that picture. I did my own hair when it was to hair with the Katira mask. I was blown away with what it did. It makes your hair light, weightless, and it just flows like a commercial. It just flows and it moves, and you touch it, you can't believe it, and it's shiny like glass. And it's a plant gum, and it comes from Iran, and it's used all over the Middle East. You can find it everywhere from Dubai, Cairo, Kuwait City, Oman, and all the souks. You buy it raw with the spices. You reconstitute it. I have some, and I can actually show you it. I have to go grab it though. But I can. I might have some in the shower. You want to see it?
I'm curious.
You have to hold on. You would love it. It's not just for curly wild hair. It would make your hair so voluminous and so
It's in
shiny.
your products now, Philip? You have it in.
Oh yeah,
already-
I'm making it for years. Hold on. You can see how the tube is bulging. Because it's living product. This product will expand and expand and expand. It is like a 1950s horror movie. It's incredible.
Which one is that, Philip?
Theater mask.
Oh.
It's a jelly that works exactly like a conditioner. Exactly. It's made from dried plant gum. Don't let that scare you though. It's called a gum, but it's really more than that. Hold on, I get some water spilled here.
What's that product called?
It's straightening mask.
Oh, straightening mask. Yeah.
It's Katira gel. It used to be Katira, but most people have a problem saying it. So since people have a problem, if they can't say it, they won't ask for it, so they won't buy it. So we made everything easy for Americans. You just take this and you just literally smear it onto your hair, dry or wet. You can let it dry. It dries. I would, for you, oh my God, I would just work it into your hair, even dry. Just take a big handful of it, just put it right on, just work it right through and let it soak in. And it's very slippery, very slick and slippery. All right. And then you just work it and let it absorb into the hair. And then you take a comb and you just comb it and comb it and comb it. For curly hair, that's how you straighten with it. And then you pull it back and you let it dry. It takes an hour. It dries into a hard shell, like a gel. Then you rinse, 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 rinse. If you could use a little pH spray, even better. Towel dry, no conditioner needed. You will take a fine-tooth comb and you will glide through your hair. And when you blow it out, your hair is just going to be voluminous and crazy. So I think, Alicia, I would like you to try this, do the mask that you like, the scrub with the Katira mask as a trial, and then hit just, again, see, so everything's slipping out of my hands. I can't even spray it because the bottle's slipping down because the Katira is so slippery.
Wow, we've learned so much today, Philip. I mean, we're very grateful for you sharing all of your wisdom. I have one last question and then we can wrap up, even though I'm such a curious creature. I could talk to you all day long.
Yeah, me too. Once I'm on a roll like this, I can't stop. I couldn't even wake up this morning, but it's funny when I talk about what I'm passionate about, I just go like my flame just keeps going higher and higher and higher. And isn't that what you want out of life? You want to be passionate about what you're doing. So at the end of the day, you sleep really good.
I can feel it through the screen, and that's, you know, a rarity. So we're grateful for that. And
thank you very much.
Johnny explained a little bit about our community of Beautytap. We have these beauty experts, these professionals.
I've actually read through the panel. Ava's on it as well.
Yeah, that's our advisory board, but then our community of our esteemed advisory board, which we're very thrilled to have you on. And then our community of experts who are hairdressers, facialists, estheticians, people out there working, you know, or not so much these days, but actually Beautytap has provided them with an outlet where they can advise their own clients about the products that we have and what we have available through our site, and also learn through our editorials and the education that Johnny provides with the brands. And part of what this community does is they write very authentic, meaningful reviews about products. but from a place where they've been given a deep dive education and an understanding of a brand. As a product brand owner in the beauty business, how important are reviews to you and your products and brands?
Reviews are everything. Again, nothing feels better to a salesperson or a hairdresser in retail when a client comes back and says, you know that stuff you sold me? Amazing. What else can you recommend? I've been there. I know. Positive reviews. That's why I created Emotional Living Active product. My reviews are great. My return rate's the lowest in the industry. I have the highest rates on sales per bag because people really buy me. They don't just buy one or two, they buy me. Will you say hello? I just like the look. Michael just walked in. Merry Christmas, everyone. Michael.
Hello.
We love your bookshelf and your wooden wall.
I was telling him, and you should see his wooden purses that he just did, inspired for the 1950s purses from Europe and made of wood. They're amazing.
Let me just put the stuff away.
Okay. We're currently distributed actively in 50 countries.
Yeah, you guys are everywhere.
It's just it's driven by word of mouth and editorial. I believe that if you make something that helps people, people will tell people. It's not, most people are always giving a bad review, easier to give a bad than a good one. But when you find wow factors in your life, you love to share with your best friends and your family. You know, when I go on the back of my website, how did you hear about us? You know, amazing. My sister, my brother, my mother, my cousin, like family telling family how awesome it is. That's what you need.
The beauty of an authentic review.
You need, well, authentic product will give you a great result, and a great result will give you a wonderful review. So I always say, and I learned this from Pierre Cardin's attorney 35 years ago, Mr. Pierre Cardini was his name, Pierre Cardin later. All he kept on repeating to me was the same thing, like a mantra, which is the worse the product, the more you have to market it, the better the product, the less you have to market it. And I was like, I know that. Tell me something new. But that's all he kept on. And he said, more than anything, that's really what you need to remember. So reach for the stars and land on the moon.
Yep.
I said that before.
Philip, thank you for your generosity and your time today. Yeah, we're really grateful. And we definitely would love to have you back to speak with our community of these beauty professionals. I think they would be so honored to hear from you. So maybe in January or February, we'll do another forum with many more people.
Yeah, and also with different types of treatments that I've found successful for psoriasis and dandruff and skin disorders of the scalp, folliculitis. It's really important to be able to look at it, diagnose it, and then understand how to tackle it quickly, just to give them a maintenance program or a remedy. Most of the time it's maintenance, because many things are systemic.
Yeah, internal.
Scalp tend to be internal. It's usually you are what you eat. If you have a yeast yeast imbalance, what happens is I found that people who consume a lot of bread and beer just exacerbate the problem, and then it comes out through the scalp. Wah, wah.
It's the kidney, right? Or the liver. Your scalp is like the liver.
Your scalp is literally discarding.
Getting rid of the shit.
It's discarding a lot. There's a reason why they take the hair to drug test, because everything that you ate, drank, smoked, snorted, breathed is in the hair, and it comes out to the oil glands. Your hair is just a sponge, so it just absorbs what's in the sebum, and what's in the sebum is. Someone said to me, when you smoke a cigarette, you look at the filter, it's yellow. I said, yeah, that's nicotine. It's an oleoresin. It secretes through the scalp. That's why your hair, you ever go to a club in the old days and you came out and your hair smelled like cigarettes? Ugh. I used to have hair down here. I wake up in the morning and smelling my hair, go, ugh, ugh, ugh. And that's how I'd wake up. I'd come out of a deep sleep smelling like an ashtray from being at a bar that night. I think we all know that feeling. So it was important to understand oleoresins bind to the hair, and they don't wash off with soap and water, nor do plastics. When you think about mousses and gels, they really bind. And shampooing 2 times is not going to get rid of it. Oil treatment will actually dissolve it all, because plastics are made from oils and resins. So putting oil on plastic, that's why you have to put oil in glass. It will melt the plastic right before your eyes. In 30 days, a plastic bottle with this would just literally melt. You pick it up and the whole thing will just concave and just your finger will go right through it.
Well, this has been very eye-opening, even though as a journalist, I know a good amount of this, but just listening to you is very inspiring and very educational, and we're most grateful.
I hope so. I'm trying to give people good advice to make life easier, especially during this time. We just need solutions. And I don't want to hear anything but good solutions. I really want to know facts and answers. So I think most people feel like I feel. It's a scary time right now. So
we're inching closer to light at the end of the tunnel, I believe.
Yes, we are. There are vaccines coming. Pick and choose wisely. Be very
exactly. Philip, thank you again.
Thank you, Johnny.
Look forward to more of this. Yeah, we'll look forward to another session with you in the new year, and we'll send you, any links, more editorials coming, and some fun social postings as a result of this.
Sweet. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining with us. We'll be talking soon, okay?
Thank you very much. And anything
Christmas,
you
guys.
need,
Merry Christmas.
you know, always write me on Instagram. I'm always there. People write from all over the world on Instagram. So
oh, I will be.
I read every day. I go into my messages and I answer people from all over
On
the
the
world.
Philip B, or is there a personal one? Okay.
I have on Philip B. I do both. I have, but mostly my clients. Everyone goes to Philip B. You can go to Philip B. private.
Oh, okay. I'll do that too. Thank you.
Sounds good. Have a great day. Thank you so much, everybody, and we'll be talking soon in the new year.